Recording.
Cool. Yeah, so I feel exactly. I feel feelings more truly, but I'm not attached to any part of them. You just, I hate that word surrender because it's like a buzzword, like authenticity, but really just feeling them, just being present with them. And it's just so easy to do that. And then it's like also the capability to be like, what is this emotion? Right? Like it's so easy to make it simple, like this is connected to this, but like it's so much easier for me to just sit back and be like, okay, what does this really mean?
Exactly.
You know? So I think that has been like another big step in the process, is just like recognize the emotion, and if I care to, then maybe see if it goes deeper. Then sometimes I'm like, no, I'm just pissed off right now. I'm like, I'm just angry, so I don't give a shit, and I'm just gonna be angry, and then like, oh weird, it goes away after a while. But it's been interesting because even like the last 2 weeks, it's been more like standing and like some heightened anger, and then just like this low grade of me being like, that pisses me off. And then I'm like, it's okay though. You know, instead of like, why am I mad? How do I change it? How do I control this emotion? I'm supposed to be happy all the time and peaceful and loving everyone. Right? No, yeah. So that's been really cool.
It's about changing the currents. So most people have this this undercurrent, which is who they actually are, and then there's surface level currents, and this is what people usually see. And inner peace simply brings out that undercurrent and removes all the stuff that's in there, so whatever goes on, regardless of what it is, they're always at peace in their core, and they're still going to feel the surface level activities on top of it. So they're going to feel anger, sadness, joy, and that roller coaster of life will still be there, but it never affects who you really are.
Totally. Yeah, I would say that is 100% true. Yeah, and it's so subconscious that I don't know that it's happening, like, because I don't actively have to work on it. You know, like I'm not sitting there being like, don't be mad, what did you learn in that treatment? You know, because that's like, I mean, a lot of things I've done in the past, it's like, okay, what are the tools in your toolbox? Open them up and use them in this situation. I don't do any of that. I'm just living, right?
Exactly.
Which is really cool because it's just really true. Like, I think is like the biggest difference between this modality than anything else I've ever done is that there's no like homework pages that I'm writing out. I haven't written in my journal in 2 months.
Wow. Okay.
And like, I look at it and I'm like, no, like I just don't feel pulled to it at all, which is also very interesting because that's usually what I do all the time. When I get in a place of like anger or something, I'll write it out. But like, because the background has been so peaceful, I'm not pulled towards that outlet. And it could just be right now. I'm sure I'll always use it as a tool, but it's been really, really interesting that I haven't needed like that outlet to like let things go on paper because there's this background of peace.
Exactly.
Right? So those little subtle changes, but they're everything.
They are.
Yeah.
The more the inner peace at the core starts being held on to and not even held on to, becomes realized and actioned.
Totally.
That ripple effect starts clearing everything else out. And over time, because we've only had 4 sessions now, something like that, and I usually do 6 with people. And so if you're seeing these outcomes, then there's a little tweak or two right back at the center, and once that's done, then the entire ripple where you'll still feel anger, but there's 0 attachment to it. And so it never sticks around. It's always in the moment and only in the moment. And then once that's kind of pass through and you just stop and let it wave through, then the surface level emotion starts to patter off.
Of course. Yeah, it's been really cool. Yeah, and like, have I seen you since my brother's wedding and all that too?
Yeah, we had the one.
Yeah, so it's like just been so fun. Like even like lower moments and higher moments, it's like you just enjoy them more. You know, like the wedding, it's like I just am able to be like fiercely present. You know, the only thing that's been weird is that I can't remember anything. I thought it would be the other way. It's been so weird. Like, I can remember everything when I'm working or when I'm like treating. Like, I can remember people's like dogs' names, but I can't remember anything outside. I'm like, it's escaping me, like my short term lately.
Okay.
Like, it's just like I don't remember what I've been telling people. So I have to repeat it. Like, I'll say to one of my girlfriends, did I already tell you this? Like, I don't remember who I'm having conversations with. And then I'm like, okay, is that being not present because I don't remember what I'm telling people, I don't remember the information I'm absorbing, or like, I don't know, it's just been like really interesting.
That sounds like so when people have shifts in the subconscious landscape, what usually occurs is people have developed mental techniques to remember things for short term and long term.
Yeah.
When inner peace starts being obtained, a lot of those blocks or techniques start either fading away or becoming redundant.
Right.
And so the next step I'll take you through, and I just took another client through this, is how to access the subconscious mind so all the information is there at all times. The subconscious mind already has all of it.
Absolutely.
It's about finding the new way of accessing that information. And then it's going to be, the information will be presented in a more simple manner, in a more cohesive manner, in a more structured manner. So kind of like the movie Limitless, where the information just pops up when you need it.
Yeah.
It's along those lines.
Okay,
The
cool,
subconscious mind knows how to handle all of that, and we've just built structures on top of it. Well, structure is structure, and it's going to be useful, but the system's already designed to be everything it needs to be. So let's just let it kind of come through in the new way.
Because even when I was writing those exam questions, like things were like coming to me that I'm like, I don't remember that. But it was just like I would just say it, and then we'd create a question around it. Like it was just so interesting. So it's like, for sure I'm tapping into that, but like I can't, like all the other stuff, I'm like, I wonder if this is connected. It has to be. I'm like, this is so interesting, but you're right, because that's another pattern, right? So yeah, I just can't remember what I've been telling people in like personal life, right? And like when I'm just having a conversation, I'm like, did I tell that person this or this? Like it's just like no idea.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's like one of like the weird things that have been happening, but other than that, yeah, I think that's like overall since I've seen you last, and I mean overall since I started seeing you, that's what I've like really noticed. Yeah, like life without attachment's pretty rad. Right? Like it's
It is a lot of fun. It makes life easier at the end of the day.
So much easier, right?
One of the biggest things I had initially getting clients to understand is you're not giving up anything.
Right.
You're giving up beliefs, you're giving up stuck emotions, but it's not giving up who you are. And at the same time, they would then say, well, you know, you can't feel happy all the time, but you're not feeling happy all the time.
You're not.
You're feeling what's there in the moment, and once you recognize what it is, then the subconscious mind goes, okay, oh, you've recognized what it is, I can let it go now. And that's the biggest thing, is once the subconscious mind, which is sending you signals saying, hey, you're mad about this, there's you, the idea, the feeling about this is the compass, and once you recognize what that is, like, oh, now the subconscious mind can chill down.
Yeah, I definitely feel that is the process that goes through my system, for sure. And it's not about being happy, it's about being at peace, which is way greater than happiness.
Yes,
Right?
I find so.
I find so always, and I always say that to people, like, what do you really want? And 95% of people say to be happy. I'm like, I want to give you something more.
That's it.
Right?
Yes,
I want to
exactly.
give you something more. I want you to find peace, because if we can find peace, then you can be heartbroken, you can be really happy, you can have all these things, and you still are okay. Right? Like that is, I mean, I truly believe that that's kind of like the ultimate goal. So when I've been hearing that lately, it's like the biggest compliment possible. When people say like, you really seem like you're okay, you really seem like you're doing really well. I'm like, that is the whole point of all this. That no matter what happens, that I'm okay, right? That it's all about like self being okay, because then you're better for the planet, you're better for everything around you, right? And it's like a domino effect. So I notice it with people around me too, where they're, you know, like, oh, like really trying to find that peace instead of just being like, I want to be happy all the time, because that's not real.
No, and it's not possible.
Yeah.
Life is not a series of, or it's not a continuous happy thing. They're not negative, but there are shocks to the system. You know, someone is going to pass away at some point in time. You can't sit there and be happy about that. It's okay to be sad.
Totally.
You know, pets are going to pass away. You're going to stub your toe walking through the kitchen.
Totally.
When you're not going to be happy that you've done it. You can be at peace with it. You can laugh about it. But this, for someone to say that, you know, they're happy that they stubbed their toe, the mind will never compute that unless it's trying to understand a lie.
Totally. Yeah, it's that concept of yin and yang, right? Like you can't have yin without yang, you can't have yang without yin. So there is darkness within the light and light in the darkness. So if you think that you can be happy all the time, then there's always like that piece of darkness, right? So if you become at peace with that, then life is just so much more enjoyable.
Exactly. And that's the key.
Yeah, so it's been really cool. Thank you.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, totally. That's why I was like, I need to send people to you.